Hey, Jackie Onassis. You got those glasses on like Jackie Onassis used to wear. They're good on you. Oh, Lucid Vision Kennels. My American bully is KBKY and AYAT, and I'm not sure what you've got going on the blue gene, but anyway, she appears to be a reverse brindle, mostly black with brown stripes. Okay, I plan to breed her with a tri blue that does blue and tan, I guess. What is the likelihood of getting tri and brindle pups? Well, half the pups are going to be brindle on average, because that's what's coming from your bully, and the tri tan points, half the puppies are going to be tan points, half are going to be AYAT, and the other half are going to be ATAT. So there you go. Hope that answers your question. I have a visual fluffy AA, so that's double black recessive, EM, so one copy of black mask, little e, one copy of blue, NS, one copy of pied, no brindle. In your opinion, should I mate with a platinum or Isabella fluffy stud? Thank you for your information. Well, okay, so the difference between a platinum is a dog that has 2 copies of E and has a copy of Coco, which you don't mention in this. And the Isabella is a, that would be a little d, great, little b. So the answer is you don't talk anything about chocolate in your dog, so you're not getting either Isabellas or Lilacs out of this. But I can tell you that the Isabella fluffy stud should probably be more expensive than platinum, because Isabellas are hot right now. Somebody's got a reply here. Let's see what the reply is. Oh, she's a female. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, if you're looking at our dogs, we do have a couple of dogs that would get this done for you. We do have a full fluffy platinum, gorgeous little boy called Bublier. He'd be a great place to start. But I'd contact us and let's talk about it in some detail. Yes, she can wait for one. Dog heat explained. Crasher 1550. I would like to see some credentials before I buy into your explanation of heat. I'm a mechanical engineer by degree. There you go. Not a vet, not a medical professional. I've been doing dogs for a long time. Those are my credentials.
His dad was a doctor.
Yeah, my dad was a doctor. I slept in a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, when it comes down to credentials, I don't have any. I mean, all I've got is a lot of experience, which is probably worth a lot more than most of the credentials.
Well, we were 8 years raising Labrador Retrievers, and then we went into the Frenchies, and that's been 18 years.
Yeah, I've never been asked that question before. I don't have a problem with the question, by the way, so I'm not trying to get crappy on this. But the answer is, anytime you get any information from me or anybody else, make sure it makes sense, because I promise you, dribble comes out of my mouth like anybody else's. Hopefully that I correct it when that happens. But
Google it if you're
there. You go. Exactly.
Ask
Google
your
it.
vet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Google
Yeah. Don't take my word for it.
Do your homework.
Even if I got credentials, still don't take my word for it. I mean, you know, honestly.
Take information on your own and search.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Crasher 1550.
That anymore.
Oh, Google's such a wonderful resource, but it's also a resource to find some crap information too, of course, and that's why you should have this bullshit meter that goes off anytime anybody tells you something. If you don't know about it, get a second opinion. If it doesn't sound right, question it. That's it. So anything I say, hopefully it's good information, but my credentials are nothing that's going to help you in terms of believing me, and nor with the credentials of anybody else either, by the way, because credentials, you know, anybody can have credentials. What you want is good information. Anyway, enough of that. Marino's vlog. Question. My female is 11 months. She turns 1 in April 23rd. She still hasn't gotten her first heat. What do you think I should do? Also, what would you do in this situation? Take her out to the back of the yard and shoot her? No, not at all. No. Just wait. Be patient. Look, lots of dogs don't have their first heats until they're a year old or older. Besides the fact, you don't want to breed a dog that's unless a year old anyway, and preferably a second heat. So just take your time. It'll be fine. Here's some replies on that. Oh, so Karen Weirin says my Frenchie female just turned 1 year old, 1 month, just had her first heat. I was worried also. Yeah, look, I can promise you, well, I can't promise you this, but I can tell you that the majority of dogs do have normal heat cycles. It does tend to be a bit regular to start with. Some dogs are 6 months for their first heat, some dogs are a year and a half for their first heat, occasionally dogs are 2 years for their first heat, but almost all dogs, 90%, get their first heat within 18 months after they're born. So just take your time. Take your time. Alexander Gonzalez, these two questions are valid. We're going to be okay. I'm going to have to take this phone call because Chanel keeps calling us. So I'm going to stop this, and we'll just wait a few seconds. We'll just do this one first. Here's the two questions. One, how do you make it testable from start? And two, is if a female is due for parvo vaccines, rabies vaccines, which is the middle of a progesterone and a heat, about to be bred, is it safe to vaccinate them or what? So question number two is don't vaccinate a dog that is in heat. That would be a mistake. You can absolutely abort puppies that way. If the dog is the beginning stages of heat and has been AI'd, maybe you're okay. You know, if it's just the beginning stages and you've got 2 weeks to go before you AI, it's probably okay, but I have never seen any valid information that I know is correct on this, and I certainly don't know. I personally would wait. Remember that when you vaccinate a dog, it should be every, what is it, a year for rabies?
No.
How often is
15
rabies?
weeks old on a puppy.
Right, yeah,
Right.
but
on adult people, it's once a year.
yeah, once a year. So look,
Yeah, but if you hadn't bred the dog yet, go get her vaccinations all taken care of, and then get her bred.
yeah, but look, let's say that you have to wait because she's in the middle of has been bred, right? You know, if the dog's not going to be bred, you can do the vaccinations, but it's only if we're worried about pregnant dogs here. So if you've got a pregnant dog and you've got to wait, you know, until the puppies are born in another month, don't worry about it, just wait.
Well,
It's
also wait till after they're weaned.
Why?
Nurse them puppies.
I don't think it's a problem at all.
Okay, whatever.
A valid point there. I don't know that I'm right over that, but I don't think it's a problem.
I
Your vet would know.
would think I would wait.
But the point I want to make here is don't think there's an alarm clock that goes off right at 1 year that says ding, 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 time to vaccinate your dog now, because that's not the case. What happens is the protection you get from a vaccination wears off. If you vaccinated your dog a year ago and now it's a year and 3 months, it's probably got the majority of its protection still in place. So, and that's going to vary by dog too. So don't get overly worried about whether the 6 month mark and the year mark is directly up. Now, I think I talked about some previous comments. It's a completely different story for vaccination on puppies. That does have to be done correctly. If you leave it too long or too early, you don't get the correct protection that you need, and you probably have to start the whole vaccination process again. Now, question number 1. How do you make a testable chocolate from start? Well, you've got to have a puppy that has 2 copies of Little B. And that means that it has to have parents that both have 2 copies of Little B. And if you had 2 dogs that both had a single copy of Little B, you'd expect 1/4 of the litter to be Little B testable chocolate. If you breed 2 completely testable chocolate dogs, both are Little B, all the puppies will be Little B. That's the way to get there quickly. Alexander Gonzalez, if you have a female in heat in the process of being bred with progesterone AIs, but she's due for rabies and parvo vaccines, can you do it? No, don't do it. Don't do it. Hi James, just wondering, heated whelping kit, is it okay to install with a steel tray? Absolutely, it works great, no problem whatsoever. That metal just transfers the heat through to the metal just beautifully, it works great. What color do you choose on AKC registration for a blue Brindle? Bruise notch option. Hi James, just want to thank you for the test kits. Very promptly got them in 2 days later. One of my puppies is going runny to the restroom, tested positive for Giardias. This is the snap test that we sell. It's so easy to do. You just take a little bit of their poop. It comes in a little vial of some buffer solution. You put a little bit of poop in that. You mix it up. It comes in a little dropper. You put a drop or 2, 3 drops of that into the little cassette. Get the results in 5 minutes. Anyway, came back negative for parvo. Blah blah blah. This is a long one here. Well, it's too long for you. It's like that long. I can't answer questions that long. Well, and unfortunately, so we'll dissect that and answer it later. I have this is Rhonda Wheelbaker. I have a question. I have a female who's genetic tested Big E and Big E. That's one copy of Black Mask, KYKY, not Brindle, AYA. That means that dog could make 10 points. SPSP, pied. Intermediate reg pigmentation, don't know what that is. That's probably a test that Animal Dentist definitely doesn't have. She is pied, yep, she should be. Her papers state that Shazar is full Brindle. Is it possible to get KYK from 2 Kbr Brindles? No, it is absolutely possible, yeah. So what the question here is that she's got 2 parents who have a copy of Brindle, and she wants to know whether or not they made a mistake, whether her KYKY could be correct. And the answer is this: if you put 2 KYKY dogs together, you'd expect a quarter of the dogs to have 2 copies of Brindle, half the dogs to have...
Wait a minute, I think you said it wrong. KYKY to KYKY should be all non-Brindles.
No, you got 2 dogs that have a copy of Brindle.
Okay.
What's the chances that you could have a KYKY dog? Non-Brindle dog.
KBR is Brindle.
Right. So you got 2 Brindle dogs that have a single copy. What's the chances of it getting a dog that's a Brindle? And the answer is 25%. So you'd get 25% who didn't have any Brindle, 1/2 had 1 copy, and 25% had 2 copies. So there's your answer to that. So yeah, absolutely possible. Yeah. And by the way, you should be able to look at that dog and tell probably the dog doesn't have Brindle. For instance, if it's a fawn dog, it's not Brindle. If you see some striping on it, it is Brindle, and somebody got the test wrong. But it's probably
they can also not show any Brindle except for a little speck on their top right shoulders, where we had some females that had that.
Yes.
And
yes.
Some people are saying, well, that doesn't show Brindle. Well,
it's there.
It's there.
The testing covers are pretty good about getting Brindle right. It's not that it can't happen, but I mean, the answer is if it's a KYKY dog, it's quite possible, and it's probably fine. Could you please explain if you need to get an LLC for taxes or no? No, you don't. LLC, if you do an LLC, you're going to have to do your own personal tax. Yeah, you have to do your own personal taxes, and you have to do taxes to the LLC. But the LLC protects you against your personal property when someone coming back and suing you. That's basically what it is. But no, you don't. You don't have to do an LLC at all. No.
Okay.
One last one here. Any special care for after they've removed dew claws? No. You can see sometimes a little bit of blood there, put a bit of pressure on it. Typically you don't see that. No, we don't do anything at all. We just remove the dew claws, and you'd be surprised. The puppies are fine, and there's no issue whatsoever at all.
3 to 5 days.
Yeah.
If you wait later.
No, you can't do this.
A guy said, well, can I do it at 2 weeks? No, it's already being a bone.
No, you can't do it then. You have to have surgery.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that.
after a week, it's a bone.
If you're going to decide to do this, you need to do this certainly before they're a week old. So
yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.